Thank you very much. Sure. Appreciate that. Welcome, everyone, to the regularly scheduled meeting of Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District for August 8th, 2024. We will begin this meeting by a call to order and a roll call. Madam Clerk.
Yes, Director Sailors.
Present.
Director Weber.
Here.
Director Sheets.
Present.
President Gould.
Present.
Director Wood.
Here.
Director Jones.
Here.
Director Costa.
Here.
Director Clark. Thank you. And Director Rice is absent this evening.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Director Costa, will you lead us in a pledge of the flag? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Director Costa. We'll continue this meeting with a public opportunity to discuss matters of public interest within the district's jurisdiction, including items on or not on the agenda. Madam Clerk, do we have any speaker forms?
I do have one speaker form from Roger Mitchell.
Mr. Mitchell, good to see you again. Appreciate you being here. And anyone online, I know there's probably 10 or 15 online that are lining up. So you got 3 minutes, Mr. Mitchell. Appreciate you being here.
Did you say 33?
I did not.
Yeah.
Your hearing is failing you. 3 minutes.
Director Gould, directors, chief, audience. My name is Roger Mitchell. I'm here this evening. I'm certainly a retired member of this wonderful district and ex-director, but I'm here tonight to advertise our fundraising dinner for the restoration project of the old Rio Linda's #2 engine. I would tell you that it will certainly, when it's done, represent Metro Fire also. It's not going to be just a Rio Linda project. That is on October the 5th. That's the first Saturday in October, 5 o'clock. The tickets are $25. And I would say at least half of the directors so far have bought tickets from me. So I appreciate that very much. Also, I see on your agenda tonight, number 4, joint proclamation commending, and I'm not going to mention the name, and I'll tell you why. We're trying to keep this a secret. Now, I don't think it will be kept a secret too easy, but she's leaving office, and this district, as well as the Park District in Rio Linda, have worked together collectively, and she's been a driving force also in that. So the reason for that proclamation with both names, the Fire District and the Park District, is to commend her and all her work. And I would share this with you. She has the last 5 years, she has sponsored our dinners. Also, about 5 years ago, they called me up and she had this big cardboard thing and it was all covered up. And they uncovered it. And what it was, you've all seen these presentation or ceremonial checks. She handed us $10,000. So it's a lot of money, but I would tell you this, restoration, if you don't cut any corners, is expensive. And I'll give you just 2 examples. There's $7,500 in a radiator that we've done all the work in tearing it apart, analyzing and putting it back together. The searchlight that sits in the center of the cowl, to have all of that fixed, the big cracks and holes in it, as well as chrome plated, that's a $2,000 bill. Bolts that are called high head bolts that are period correct. You can go to the hardware store and buy a bolt for $1. These high head bolts, depending on the size, are $5 to $10 a piece. And we've got a lot of them in this truck. So anyway, thank you for listening this evening. Hope to see you all at the dinner. I would share with you, hopefully one of the speakers to help put this presentation when we give it to this person will be one of the world-class speakers. And I think he's here tonight, sitting right over here, the chief. So anyway, hope to see most of you there, and I'll see you at the next meeting. Thank you, directors.
Thank you, Roger. Appreciate that. Madam Clerk, comments online? I was just kidding. I don't think there's going to be anyone. Okay.
So no additional speakers.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the agenda. Consent items. I'll entertain a motion to approve consent as printed in the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion.
Have a motion?
Second.
I'll second.
We've got a second and a third and a fourth. Madam Clerk, if you'll please call the roll.
Yes. Director Sailors,
Aye.
Director Weber.
Aye.
Director Sheets, President Gould,
Aye.
Director Wood,
Aye.
Director Jones,
Aye.
Director Costa,
Aye.
Director Clark.
Aye.
Thank you. The consent calendar is adopted.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to our presentation items. Our first item this evening is Health and Safety Division is with us tonight, and Metro Fire Cancer Task Force. They'll be making a presentation. And I believe our colleagues in the room, we have the presentation in our board packet as a
Yes.
PowerPoint slide. Chief, good evening. We can hear you fine.
To safety and emergency planning.
Now we can hear you
Now we
better.
There we go. Tony Peck, Battalion Chief assigned to safety and emergency planning. And I'm here tonight to talk to you a little bit about health and safety and some of the things that we've been doing here at Metro Fire for our members and some of the things that we're looking forward to in the future, such as the establishment of the Metro Fire Cancer Task Force. And so first off, let's see here. There we go. Looking at our fire chief priorities for fiscal 24-25. And one of those being member health and wellness. And this is something that Chief House and the executive staff has been very passionate about, very vocal about, and you can see it's becoming more of a priority in our agency. It's very exciting, and the members are really taking note of that. And for me, when we look at our Metro Way and service delivery being our number one priority, I kind of look at that going in both directions. You got service delivery to our community, but also service delivery going to our members. And right now that's beginning to gain a lot of momentum. So what I want to do is share with you some of the highlights of what we're doing in health and wellness, as well as safety. It's not everything that we're doing, just some highlights. Some of it you may already know, so be a refresher, and some of it might be new to you. So first of all, health and wellness. We have our wellness exams that we offer for our members each year. And actually, Coach Pat Gallagher is here this evening, and he's going to talk to you more specifically about that, what we're doing, some of the challenges we're having, and where we're moving towards in the future. Body scans. Body Scan International has been out here for the last couple of years, providing a lot of good information for our members regarding their evaluation and what to look for and what to be aware of. Esophageal cancer screening. We had EsoGuard come out 2 months ago, saw a lot of our members, and they're actually out here this month as well. The cancer skin testing. This is a California Skin Cancer Coalition. They were out here this year, saw a lot of our members. A lot of the members got some good information. Unfortunately, we did have 4 members who were diagnosed with melanoma. So thankfully, we had that test to catch that early. Cardiac blood tests. Last year, we had Select Well come out. A lot of members went through that, very appreciative of that. So we're trying to get more of that here in the agency. Kind of switching gears, the firehouse exercise equipment. Coach Gallagher's done a great job of getting out to the crews and the stations and getting them what they need and getting them motivated and doing the right kind of workouts. A lot of people forget that when it comes to cancer prevention, that diet and exercise is just as important. Peer support, Ryan Manfredi and his group do an incredible job training individuals and getting resources for our members. And I will say Ryan's excellent at getting out videos periodically for our membership and keeping them informed. And physical therapy. So Mac Performance comes out 1 day a week to Station 21 on Thursdays and helping those members rehab and get through their injuries a lot quicker. On the safety side of the house, so I want to put PPE procurement right up there because Brian Sestito and Brian Spence do an incredible job getting the best PPE for our members. And really, it's difficult navigating through all the different manufacturers and all the different information. They're very passionate about what they do. They're very engaged, and we're really thankful to have them. So we're getting the best PPE we possibly can. The decontamination bags, about 6 months ago, the board approved decontamination bags for all our members. So every line member, including arson investigators and fire inspectors, have that bag for their personal vehicle. So when they're going from station to station, job to job, they're not contaminating the inside of their vehicle or exposing their families to that. Battalion-based cleaning, if you're not familiar with what that is Cal OSHA mandates that we are to clean our turnouts twice every year and inspect it once a year. This is another great job that Brian and Bobby do, getting all those turnouts in. I think last month, they cleaned over 1,600 pieces of PPE. So getting those turnouts and those PPE in and back to those members, I think our success rate now is over 90%, which is unheard of in California. So they do an incredible job. And that's just not there to meet the Cal OSHA mandate, but it's really there to protect our members. keep their turnouts clean. We have preliminary exposure reduction. This is kind of a new term, PER. This is basically anything a firefighter can do after a fire to reduce their exposure. It can be wet decontamination, dry decontamination, wipes, whatever it might be. And here at Metro Fire, we're doing wet decontamination. And we are using what we call a storm stick. And if you're not familiar with the storm stick, it's about 5 foot long. It's a piece of equipment that goes on the side of an engine to a discharge outlet, sprays pressurized water and specialized soap and wets down that firefighter. And studies show that reduces contaminants by 85%. So that's something we're really excited about. It's a little different for our crew members. It's a culture change, but we're working towards that. It's not going to happen overnight. Also, Metro Fire is very progressive when it comes to the cleaner cab concept. And if you didn't know what that is, that means trying to keep contaminated gear out of the cabs of the engines in the trucks. Historically, after fires, crews would throw the turnouts in there, all the equipment in there, then they'd get in there and ride around with it off-gassing and breathing that. So we're really trying to move towards that cleaner cab concept. And one thing that's really helping us with that is Decon 110. Decon 110 responds to every residential and commercial structure fire with a firefighter on it. The firefighter will get on scene, help set up the storm stick, and it'll take those wet turnouts that have been decontaminated, bagged up, put it on Decon 110 and brought back to safety for cleaning. The Decon also has a couple dozen spare turnouts for members who lose their turnouts or actually have to turn in their turnouts because they've been decontaminated and they didn't bring their second set, so they have loaner turnouts for the members. We also have spare SCBA packs that we swap out for the contaminated ones. And we're now looking at air cylinders to swap out those for the members. The gold standard we're looking at is what we call tactical washers. If we can get those on the Decon unit, these are washers that can clean helmets and face pieces, boots and gloves within 3 to 8 minutes. So get it clean on scene before they leave. And that's what's going to really lead us to that cleaner cab. And the Cancer Task Force, I'll talk about that here in just a second. So here at Metro Fire, when it comes to health and wellness and safety, we're doing a lot of good things, but we want to do more. We want to do more. We want to be more efficient. And we really want to change the culture here. So 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line, health and wellness and safety is equally as important as service delivery and being that aggressive firefighter agency. So how do we do that? So one of the visions is a health and safety division. And it could be health and safety division. It could be a health and wellness division. But why? Why do we need that? So first of all, it's a morale builder. There's a lot of members in this agency, a lot of younger members, which is the bulk of our membership, are wondering, what are you doing to protect me? What are you doing to help me? Especially since now I'm going to age 57. And so we want to walk the walk and just not talk the talk. And I think this would speak volumes to the membership, actually creating a division dedicated to them. Increased visibility. Right now, health and safety is somewhat embedded in the training division, sometimes gets diluted. This would give the division more of a voice at the table, co-equal with operations, support services, and administration. Enhanced collaboration. There's a lot of people doing a lot of good work right now, but trying to coordinate that and share that information. An economy of effort. We do have a duplication of effort, which could lead to inefficiency, and having this division would help prevent that. Promote external engagement, another one of the fire chief's priorities. Having that division would force the division to externally engage more with the stakeholders, with sponsors and partners and neighboring agencies. And finally, when I say carry the torch, what that basically means is getting to the point where management is carrying the torch on the health and wellness and safety and spearheading that. Labor has done an incredible job with taking care of our members, visiting different centers, looking into different early cancer screenings and different tests, but really management should be driving this. Really management should be carrying that torch with labor augmenting that, being there kind of as a safety net and making sure they were in line with those priorities. So mission provides service and guidance to promote optimal health, safety, environment, and equipment for all members and their families. So we're realistic in the fact that this vision is not going to happen overnight. It's a work in progress. And that being the case, you could say that it'd probably take a phased approach if we're going to do this. And part of that vision is having a phased approach. And phase one would be actually creating the health and safety division, making it actual real for the members so they can see it. We're actually making this a priority. We are actually walking the walk. Visit successful firefighter wellness centers and programs, Chief House and Labor. They have done that as of late. They've gone to see comparable departments, San Diego, Phoenix, South Metro in Colorado, and they've seen actual successful operations and how they're getting people off work quicker, preventing injuries. Their early cancer detection rates are going up. They're finding that a lot early, and they're seeing a lot of cost savings. Coordinating efforts with 522, we want to continue to do that. We're better together than separately, so continue to partner with 522. Identify gaps in member services. We're doing a pretty good job right now, but we do have gaps, and we need to shore that up. And then finally, determine initial goals and objectives, and most of all, some benchmarks and timelines. Phase 2, this would probably be the bulk of the work, and that's the testing and screening research. So there's a myriad of tests out there and screenings out there. And a lot of the members ask us, why aren't you doing this? And why aren't you doing that? Or this agency is doing this, why are you not doing that? So we need to take the time to figure out exactly what's out there and vet those out and find out what's best for our members and what's most cost effective. Incorporating demographic data is something we just recently started talking about. And that is maybe what we do here at Metro Fire might be different than maybe what Sac City does, depending on their buildings and their occupancies and how old they are. Maybe they're seeing different types of cancer. So maybe we do different types of tests here at Metro Fire. So that's something we need to take into consideration. Determine member schedule of services. It's not a one size fits all. Are we going to do it every year, every 3 years, every 5 years? And the same test we do for someone over 40, are we doing it for those who are in their 20s and 30s? So we need to come up with that schedule of services. Bolster peer support services, as mentioned, Ryan Manfredi and his group do an incredible job, but it is in a part-time capacity. They are working on shift. So possibly how can we get this to where it is a full-time endeavor and they can do more training and take those individuals who have gone through the initial training and get them continuous education. And just like with anything else, with peer support, there's a tremendous amount of resources out there, but we need time to research those and vet those out for our members. And then finally, funding opportunities with any division, with any endeavor, funding opportunities, looking for grants, looking for sponsors, alternative funding mechanisms. Phase 3, this is the heart of the division's efforts. This is where we're actually going to implement those services. This is where all the research and all the information, everything comes to fruition. We actually implement these services. But it's really important to develop metrics and a database for their effectiveness. Do we continue to do the same testings? Do we continue to do it on the same interval? So that continuous research and improvement is important. And then finally, this is really what success looks like. This is kind of the icing on the cake. This is the Metro Fire Health and Wellness Center. First of its kind in the region. Specialized care in one location. So whether it's cancer, whether it's cardiac, physical therapy, peer support, behavioral health, one location, and having a healthcare staff, whether that's doctors and or nurses, clinicians, physical therapists, those could potentially be employees for Metro Fire or contracted out. This will also be an expanded professional development path for our members. As the wellness division grows, as this center grows, we're going to need more manpower to staff that. So another opportunity for our members. And then exploring regional opportunities. Metro Fire wants to share its success. We want to be that model. We want to be that template, but ultimately, to have a regional wellness center where we can combine resources and combine funding. So overall objective, as you can see, build a health and wellness center for our members and their families, place where they can go to start or get specialized care to provide mental health through clinicians, physical therapy by therapists, cancer screening by a provider, and other treatments as needed. So one component of that vision is the Metro Fire Cancer Task Force. And so you might say, why do we need a task force? So we all know there's been a rise of cancer in our profession. And Metro Fire has been hit pretty hard this last year. We lost Anthony. We've had a few young members diagnosed with cancer. We've had a few young retirees pass away. We've had a handful or more that currently have it right now. And it's always kind of grabbed me that when someone is diagnosed or passed away, we're always profoundly shocked and saddened by that. But the question is, what are we doing about it? We talk about it a lot, but what are we actually doing about it? So when I came to safety, I could see that there was a lot of good work being done, especially with labor and some other individuals, but the left wasn't necessarily always talking to the right. Things were happening in different corners of the agency. And so I went to Chief House, or we went to Chief House and said, what do you think about a cancer task force specifically geared towards cancer? Education, awareness, prevention, early detection. And he said, go for it. So we ran with that. And on May 1st, we established the Metro Fire Cancer Task Force. And I'll give you a little information at the end on where we're at with that right now. So that's our purpose right there, strengthen our fight against cancer by establishing a collaborative environment which will enhance our unity of effort, keeping the membership informed and create agreed upon goals. Mission to empower Metro Fire members and its leadership to stay ahead of cancer through awareness, prevention, early detection, while providing compassionate support to those diagnosed. So this task force would have functional branches, and what's going to be unique about this task force is it's going to be member supported. So it's not going to be assigned to a division. It's not going to be spread throughout the divisions where it can be diluted. This is going to be supported by members who are very passionate and want to be engaged in this. So the first branch is your education awareness. That task force quarterly newsletter, I think that's extremely important because we want members to know that this isn't the flavor of the month. This isn't just a checkbox thing we're doing. That you're going to be getting a quarterly newsletter every quarter on where Metro Fire's at and what we're doing and what goals and objectives we have. And that's one of those things I talked about. That's the morale builder. That's the trust builder of the membership. 360 best practices, that's everything. That's not just from the fire ground and the apparatus, but to the stations, the facilities, because we do have a lot of non-suppression personnel in logistics and safety and fleet that are being exposed every day, no different than the firefighters. Vector Solutions, that's one of our mediums for training, so we'll be inundated with education awareness. This needs to be in every nook and cranny of our department and everything we do. So being part of the academy curriculum, being part of the probationary process and task books, being part of the promotional exam. Member ambassadors, the goal is to have a member in every shift in every battalion who's a member ambassador, not only a conduit of information from the task force to the members, but to get feedback on what's working and what's not working. And then member exposure reporting. So this is really important. We have on the Metro app page where members can go and click on one of the tiles and report an exposure, but a lot of them don't do that. You know, sometimes it's too cumbersome to do that. So trying to figure out ways where we can automatically do that for them, such as in our NFIRS, where we can click on a fire and everybody is now uploaded into that exposure. Prevention, I talked about this before. The only two things I want to hit on is increased research. There's a tremendous amount of research that goes into cancer prevention and the different tests. There's a lot of literature out there, a lot of stuff to stay up on. So we'll have an individual who is really into the research part of this. And we have someone here at Metro Fire who wants to do that, and that's going to help tremendously. And then the safety facility exposure reduction. So we have safety members and logistics techs who are cleaning these turnouts every day, and they're getting exposed. So making sure that we're protecting them. Early detection, we talked about that, the different screenings and tests that are out there. A couple things here is the member baseline database. So when we have recruits come into Metro Fire, getting a database on them so we can see changes over time. And also member cancer tracking, trying to find out what trends we're seeing here at Metro Fire and what we need to focus on. External engagement, having someone dedicated to nothing but externally engaging, neighboring agency liaisons, FireScope Cancer Subcommittee, which is up and down California with some very talented individuals who are on top of the prevention, on top of the science, seeking partnerships and training. We had the Fire Cancer Support Network here in May, who spoke to over 300 of our members on best practices in cancer prevention, so partnering with them. And then, of course, the conferences and symposiums, which they have every year, but that's where you can bring more and more information back to Metro Fire and Network. And then finally, what I'm really passionate about is our member care. When I talked about the compassion for those who are diagnosed is a liaison for diagnosed members and helping them navigate through work comp, helping them navigate through the healthcare system and developing best practices and really a toolbox. So when they're diagnosed, you can give them, it tells them exactly what to do and what to do for their families. So they're not having to deal with that when they're diagnosed and wondering what's next. So establishing lessons learned so we can make that toolbox better and better. Encouraging testimonials. There's nothing more powerful than having someone who's diagnosed to speak to members or speak on video. And then I've coordinated with the Sunshine Committee. I only have that there because I really want to impress that the task force is not there to take everything over. We're there basically to help, to augment, to work together. So the task force is not going to monopolize what we're doing. We'll continue to work with 522 and other individuals and groups who are passionate about doing what they're doing. Task force update, like I said, it was established on May 1st. We did a presentation to the members the week of May 20th. I think we had over 300 members come out. So the members are very familiar with that. We completed a survey on July 24th. The survey was asking everything from suppression or non-suppression, how many years on, what do you want to see as the priorities? What do you want to see the goals and objectives to be? We want them to help us construct and build this task force. So we're tabulating a lot of those responses now. Over 20 members have reached out saying they want to be part of this task force. So that's where you're going to get people supporting those functional branches. Are there any questions?
Well done. Well done. Let's turn it over to my colleagues. Questions for, oh, we got, Chief Becky did so well. Here comes some questions, Director.
Coach, be ready.
Yeah, no questions, just several comments and observations. I think the patient navigation portion is extremely important. That gives not only the patient, but the family members who are experiencing a traumatic experience in their life is so vital. It happens in the hospital. I think the takeaways that I love this. The cleaner cab concept, not only for our members, our suppression and non-suppression, but also for the hospital staff, right? Not going into the hospital with dirty turnouts and exposing vulnerable patients in the emergency department and also vulnerable staff members is equally as important. So I absolutely love that. Some of the notes that I wrote down to be proactive instead of reactive for cancer prevention and using technology is huge. And I commend this task force for employing some of those levers. Specialized care in the community also, it helps prevent them, right? You're not going into our elderly population who are vulnerable with dirty turnouts and exposing them to carcinogens and that sort of stuff. And then I love the fact of prevention and early detection instead of being reactive, being pro-reactive, basically. And it shows our members, who I'm extremely passionate about, that we care and that we trust and that we have their best interest, because they every day take these risks that they signed up for, but that we actually care about them and that we care that when they go home that they're gonna be safe for their family as well. So I loved this. I loved it, and it warms me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And one thing I wanted to stress is when we did brief the membership, we talked about how this task force is not going to have all the answers, and we're not going to be able to do everything overnight. And we're even going to make mistakes. We're going to be humble. And that there's a lot of low hanging fruit that we can go after right now. The high hanging fruit is infrastructure and is budget. And so, we're going to plant the seeds for trees we may not see, but as long as we start somewhere and we have some goals and objectives. So that's one thing we really try to let the membership know, is because you can imagine some members probably are looking at every single thing from A to Z that we can do and do right now, and we're just not going to be able to do that. But creating this task force, having those goals and objectives, keeping them informed on a regular basis with that newsletter, and having them participate, I think will be a big win.
And having those 20 members who want to participate in it and be the advocacy of the membership, right, is only going to get more buy-in because they have a vested interest in it. So I absolutely love it. So thank you. It was great.
Welcome.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
I got Bob. Oh, Director Weber, I saw your hand as well.
Yes, thank you. First of all, Coach, if you could sit down or something, you're wearing a hole in the carpet back there. Good Lord.
Yeah, seems so nervous. Jason.
Anthony, you had mentioned, getting back to the health and safety division, creating an entire new division, that's going to be a bit of a challenge, but in the end, how do you envision that being staffed? Is it a DC? Is it an AC on down? Have you thought that far in advance, what that looks like?
Am I free to speak?
So I'll take a approach on this. So yes, right now it is training, safety, and health. It's combined. And as you know, my history, I worked in that as an AC for about 4 years. We just recently had 6 Zoom meetings with AI utilization for a good communication tool. I have committed to, in those Zoom meetings, so it's less than 45 days, I am going to separate those two and make the division. Yes, what will be challenging and difficult, but it shows the priority of this. So in the next 45 days, we are separating training, which should be its own division by itself because training is all inclusive for our entire agency. And then health, safety, wellness, and peer support will be a division by itself. Initially, my thought is, and I think we have the resources currently to put an assistant chief over that division.
Thank you both. Good,
Welcome.
good.
Director Weber, is that it? Thank you. Down this way?
I did have a follow-up to that. So it looks like phase 1 will be implemented in 45 days. Is that what I heard?
Well, we're at kind of phase 1, phase 2 in a lot of
Okay.
areas. As we learned with some of the collaboration trips we've talked about with 522 and myself going out to visit, what we identified is a lot of the stuff we are already doing. It's just on different islands. We need to collaborate that, put that
Building that
underneath
piece
one
out.
separate thing. So the phased approach, yes, in phase 1, that was part of it. We're doing some of the things in phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, truthfully, just not all encompassing. So all inclusive in those phases. So yes, that will be included in the next, and now probably about 40 days. I think realistically, my plan right now is probably in the next less than 30 days, we'll have that division separation.
And then does that come back? Will that come back to the board just as an update on
It will,
where we're at in this
absolutely.
phase? and that
Yep.
phase? Okay.
Absolutely. I think
Thank you.
Chief Peck would love that to come back to the board with updates because
I'd be more than happy.
he is absolutely passionate about that. It was a no-brainer to support when he came in and said, let's make this task force.
Great. Thank you.
Director Clark?
First of all, Chief, I want to thank you for your leadership and support for implementing these measures. And I completely agree with all the things that Director Sheets loves about this. I got to tell you, I don't know who would want to work for Metro Fire with this level of care and of the measures that we're getting ready to implement. Some of them, I know they're going to be difficult to do, but we're running in the right direction. I think it's just amazing. It's fantastic that we're taking care of it, along with 532 also, because they're our partners. And so, yeah, I just think it's amazing. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And Director Clark, I want to comment on that. I appreciate your comments on the leadership. I want to be very clear on this, though. And I've spoke on this before. This is collaboration at its finest.
Yeah.
And this is leadership at its finest. This is not only collaboration we've presented to the board under my report sometimes or 522's reports to where, and I think it's Matt Cole, and Matt Cole has been with me on these trips. We've had a reaction. I think Matt could shake his head yes too, that they're surprised that labor and the fire chief is coming to do this. To me, it's a no-brainer. But when you talk about leadership, this is where I want to make some clarification. This is leadership at all levels in our organization stepping out. This is not something I'm doing or something that 522 is doing alone. This is leadership at all levels that is super invested in this and showing the value and care to not only protect what we're doing currently for our members, but the public we serve, but the members in future. Our future members that are looking and asking questions. When I just went out with Tim White to some of our high schools and colleges doing recruitment, you know what their number one question was? What is your organization doing to protect me from cancer?
That's
I was shocked.
Mhm.
That is something we never would have heard of before.
Yeah.
When we applied to the fire service, that was never even a question. That was the number one question as a recruiter.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chief. Director Wood?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Chief. Great presentation. Just a lot of the focus was on our sworn members, our first frontline members. Will this also be a benefit for our administrative staff? And I know they have very different challenges, but health and wellness is something equally important when you're sitting in a chair on your butt all day.
So health, wellness, and safety, that is the entire agency. That is all members, without a doubt.
Thank you.
Okay, I can't help myself on this. I've got to comment on that one too. My passion on this will come out. It's vitally important to all of us sitting in this room. You share the same passion I do for this. All of our members do. You're going to see a presentation tonight for an award of a contract. I have asked every single person that has oversight of a contract for renewal that they will be applied to every member of our organization as a priority, or I will not sign it. So tonight's presentation, pay close attention, please, as you always do. It's for the line, all of our members, all of our retirees, and all of our families. And it's easy to do. We just have to negotiate it in and being smart with these contracts. The vendors love to get awarded Metro Fire contracts.
And how?
And Director, I do want to say that some of those participants in the task force are non-sworn. So we're really happy to see that.
Yay.
That's good.
That's great.
Director Sailors.
Thank you, President. I have a question about making this new division. Is this going to create a new FTE for another assistant chief?
Right now, currently, that would be the easy ask. I think we have room to reestablish priorities with our assistant chiefs and deputy chiefs to make this no cost to the organization. I'm not going to be requesting additional assistant chief. No, ma'am.
All right. Any other questions for Chief House or Chief Beck? Any others? Let me say a couple of things if you don't mind. First off, I think we need a little bit more clarification on this stick you mentioned.
Okay.
I have some concerns that members of the public may think our firefighters are going to be showering outside the fire engine in public. That's not happening.
So I will say they are
In turnouts,
full gear on air.
taking a shower in
And
full
so
turnouts.
I would expect them to all be in t-shirts and shorts.
Good. All
But
right.
we do have our decon rig where if they needed to change, they could find that privacy.
Sure, there would.
So.
So no tickets are being sold for that event because I can just see people lining up at a fire. Hey, I was told they're going to shower. All right, I just needed clarification for that.
Yes.
The next thing is I think we can feel the energy, at least I can in the room, of what this means to us. And if you've been here for more than a week, you understand this giant gorilla that's running towards this organization. Related to health and wellness. We have seen things in closed session in my tenure I've never seen before. And so I will just challenge this entire group, and I know it can be done. 45 days is too long. It's too long. Every day counts to get our act together to get this going. Every day. So I'll challenge this group that in 2 meetings from now, we have some kind of report that describes phase 1's implementation. I think every day we don't coalesce around this idea and bring together all of the brilliant ideas that the staff here have, all of you, we're wasting time. If we're doing a lot of this, let's bring it under the house. And I will just speak for myself. I don't care what it costs, because what costs us more is when people get sick, not only in the hard dollars, but in the emotional toil it takes on a family. And when you have young people that's the only thing they ask about today, we need to spend the money now to start this thing happening because it will pay off into perpetuity. And so I would just challenge the staff, if I could be so bold, 30 days, report back here that says, this is what we're doing. This is who's in charge. This is what's happening. And we approve whatever we need to approve, because frankly, if we don't spend it now, we'll spend 10 times that amount in the future. So to me, this is a no-brainer. And probably shame on us as leaders to not recognize this when we saw some of the first events in closed session and workers' comp. We should have been helping out. So chiefs, I would just challenge you in the next 30 days, let's set up a report to this body that talks about the implementation of phase 1, whatever it looks like, but the shuffling of personnel and all of the things you all have to do, I think is absolutely justified based on what we've seen and felt tonight. So that's just my comments to the group, is that I think we need to set the stage and make it happen as soon as absolutely possible. I'm tickled pink about that's probably not the right word when you're talking about cancer, right? But I would just say that let's get this going. Let's make this happen sooner than later. Thank you very much. Chief, anything else you got for us?
No, thanks for the questions and the conversation. Appreciate it.
Appreciate that.
And you have a date to put on your calendar now.
I do. I have another presentation to prepare for.
It's what happens when you do a good job the first time. You get to come back again. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. Anything
you.
else?
No, I'm good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. We'll move on to second presentation item. Our program manager, Mr. Gallagher, Welcome. You could stop pacing.
I apologize for that. I'd like to say I'm calm, cool, and collected, but I would be lying to you.
You're amongst friends. Go.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Board, Fire Chief, distinguished guests, thank you for having me. My name is Patrick Gallagher. I'm the Health and Wellness Manager here at Metro Fire. And before I get started, whenever we talk about health and wellness and safety, I like to say safety is the outside in protection, and health and wellness is from the inside out. And if I were to weigh the two, I would say that, and because I'm a big proponent of health and wellness, and I'm honored to be here talking, and I'm so excited about what was being presented and seeing how that plays out. Because I've been in this arena here for the last 6 years, and it's really, comforting to see that we'll be moving more in that direction. So that being said, what I'm gonna do is just go over the basics of what my job entails, the scope, and then kind of where we came from, where we're at, and where we want to go with it. So the health and wellness program is what entails is the management of the health and wellness program policy, the management of the illness and injury prevention policy. I oversee 43 fitness facilities. And when I say oversee, that means we purchase the equipment for them. As Chief Peck talked about earlier, I've spent close to $600,000 since I've been here to enhance the fitness facilities and the wellness part of it as well. And it's been a heck of a run, and it's been an honor to do it. I'm almost like a Santa to the guys, and they really enjoy it when I show up with new equipment, and that's really been a focus of mine to get them what they need to help them achieve their goals. I also provide relative health and wellness info to the membership via a lot of in-station visits, emails, videos, PDPs. I have selected subject matter experts come in to speak. I see great benefit when we bring somebody from the outside in. It's almost like when mom and dad talk to the kids, they don't do anything. You bring a coach in, somebody else say, oh, that sounds great. And so that's the purpose behind that. So when we talk about health and wellness, health is the detection side, right? And we're going to talk more about the physical program, where we're at today with the physicals and what that program looks like. The wellness is the prevention side. And Director Sheets, I'm right there with you. Prevention is absolutely huge. We want to get in front of the things that we're seeing. And so Chief made a comment last week, and he said, hey, man, go ahead and spread your wings. And so that's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to talk to you about things that we're doing and things I'd like to take a deeper look at. And I want to get in front of what I think is coming down the line here. And so bear with me. So like I said, we're going to go over where we're at, where we are now, and where we're going. So sorry, there's a little delay here. So I made this timeline, and back in 2003, the health and fitness program started. There was an initiative passed that basically said, let's get fitness into the fire service. And it was back then, it was really more of, hey, you may want to put that cigarette down and get on a treadmill, and this thing called fitness is going to help you because we've realized that you need to be fit to do this job, right? And since that time, there's been a drastic change in information, basically from the internet, smartphones. Our membership here is very well versed on fitness. I will tell you that right now. On a fitness level, I would put Sac Metro up against anybody in the country as far as fitness. Sure, there's outliers and there's folks that need help. I usually meet with them on a one-on-one basis. But when it comes to fitness, every time I step into a station, there's something written on the wall, something written somewhere. I'm looking at it going, wow, that's a pretty solid workout, and guys are getting it done. And I think the culture of fitness is very high here at Metro. And so all I do is try to support that. But back in 2010, moving up to 2010, the Wellness Hazmat Physical Program started. UC Davis, and presently we're now with 100% at Kaiser. And so I'll talk more about the wellness or the wellness physicals on another slide, but we'll get through the timeline. In 2022, there was a job reclassification I'm sure you're aware of, and it was where health and fitness turned into health and wellness. Seeing the need to expand the umbrella of treatment was definitely a part of that drive there. And I was honored to make that change because it was fully in line with what I was trying to do.
Fitness is one part of it, but the mental, the nutritional, all the other parts of lifestyle is something that I'm really passionate and trying to change slowly here. And what it looks like, what a career to 57 years looks like, and how we can keep our members healthy and increase their health span. Okay, that's a big component versus lifespan, which is basically how long you're alive. We want a long health span. Okay, so in 2024, again, we will see the Health and Safety Division. It will start this in the next 3 weeks or shorter. I'm really excited about that. This is really great, good news. I'm looking forward to that development of the division and having a team of like-minded individuals, and we can really get some work done. And then in 2026, hopefully, ground will be broken and we're looking at a Metro Wellness facility. And I'm really excited about that vision there to see how that plays out, being one of the first in California and being a part of that. I'm really looking forward to that. So where we're at today, like just for your awareness, what I do in a typical day is I start, let's say at the academy, I run all the PT for the academies there. And in the academy is where I start laying the groundwork as being their advocate, right? And I try to nurture and correct them and keep a very positive environment because of the stress of being in the academy. I don't want to be an added stressor, but yet we still have to get a job done. So this will be my 9th academy coming up, and there are things that I look for, and whether it's an increase in strength, a change in attitude, something there that I can educate the guys and gals, and also nutritional, mental, rehab, recovery, all those things we cover throughout that 18 weeks. And my goal in the academy is to make sure they have a good awareness of everything they need to not only survive probation, but also through the rest of their career. So it's a great time to lay down the seeds of knowledge and put them in a position where they can succeed. Physical therapy, Chief talked about it. We have MAC Physical Therapy comes on. He comes on, Dan McLean. He was from Results. So if you ever hear the word Dan from Results, the company was bought out and he went his own way, started his own place. And he's with us every Thursday from 9 to noon. And he is, along with Doc Rossiter, in the world of physical therapy, he is our angel. There is no one better in the area. I personally am an athletic trainer. I've worked in the college, pro, and high school ranks. I was in the clinic for 10 years as a therapist. And so I know what I'm talking about, and he is absolutely top notch. And I'm sure folks here that have seen him will agree. Theta Wellness is something that I brought in about 2 years ago. And basically it's a wellness center. I know a couple of you have been there, and it's primarily geared for rest and recovery, for retuning or tuning up the brain, for everything from PTSD to we've had the folks that have gone through that system there with them. We've seen everything from low back pain being diminished, scarring from surgery helping with that. They have hyperbaric chambers. They have sub-infrared tables. It's a really high-level wellness facility. We've even had many of our cancer patients that have recovered quickly from their chemo. They use that on a 1 or 2 day a week basis. And we make room for our members that can get in, and even their family members. They're also taken care of because we have a couple of cancer diagnoses that are ongoing with the wives, and we're taking care of them as well. Assisting with the workers' comp process. I'm going to talk more about that in the next presentation, so I'll leave that alone. The health screenings that Chief talked about, back in last January, we started with skin cancer, and then we moved into the SelectWell advanced blood testing. Then we moved to our full body MRI, or as CAT scan, rather, the scanning. And some of these we make happen. Some of them are free. Some of them, what I've done is I've negotiated roughly 30 to 40% off to make it more affordable for our members. And that could be something we look at promoting and having come under the umbrella of health and wellness in the future. The goal there presently is to have a calendar of screenings that are always available to the members every year. And then the big push from my end of health and wellness is to push the preventative side through education and through changes in both at the stations and at home. So the last one is the mastermind group, and I'm not going to lie to you, I've been on my own here as the health and wellness manager ever since I've been here. I'm an army of one. And so in order to get, like, I'm trying to develop a team. So what I've done is a lot of my vendors who I've created relationships with, I said, hey, I'm developing a health and wellness, Metro Health and Wellness Mastermind group. Would you like to be involved? And pretty much all of our vendors have said absolutely, because they have that passion to help our firefighters and to help this, the district here. So we are meeting once a quarter and to just collaborate on what's out there. There's so many things out there in health and wellness that people are getting involved with, from, you know, like I said, the cold tubs, the saunas, peptides, TRT, you name it. It comes across my desk, and if I don't know anything about it, I go study it, or I find somebody who does. So we now have a mastermind group where it will help me. I can bounce things off of them, get new ideas. The trade there is those vendors, they get to just kind of passively promote their product. Like if we put out a flyer, it's put out by myself and by the district and Theta Wellness about hydration. And so what it does, it provides an opportunity for our members to go, oh, hey, that's Theta Wellness. I'll give them a call and see what they're all about. And so that's a little bit of passive advertising that they can use. And again, but these folks are primarily there for the good of the membership, because they really care about what they do. So I pulled this one out because I know that we want to talk about this a little bit and get you up to date on what's happening with our Wellness Hazmat Physicals program, because this is an area that we'd like to look at moving more in depth with. So the Kaiser Occupational Medicine, their program there, they handle all of our physicals, right? And it meets NFPA standards, and we do the full physical with all of our sworn members. It provides a fit for duty feedback to the district. Basically, what happens after a physical is we get a report that says this person is fit for duty, meaning they can breathe, they can hear, they have their immunizations, and their heart's working all right. Everything else we know nothing about, right? There could be other things happening, and that's their business, and that's the service we provide to them. But we do get something that says, okay, this person is good to be on the job. And so we have very little issues with that, and they do a solid job there. It's offered every 1, 2, and 3 years, depending on age, right? And then we have 4 locations, and this is very convenient because of the way we're spread out, 452 miles, I think it is, square miles. So up in Roseville, South Sacramento, and Folsom, and I pick where I'm sending them, and I schedule those appointments. It is a laborious task to get one engine to an appointment, and it takes about 14 steps to get that crew to that appointment. And that's something I'd like to look at, because it is a big time suck. But there are 3-hour appointments and roughly 1 to 3 engines out of service every second day on the shift calendar. I try to be wary of the fact that that service delivery is high here, and that's a big priority. So I try to keep it to 1 or 2 engines per day. But it's quite a task to get everybody to. It's like herding cats sometimes, but it is what it is, and it happens throughout the year, right? So I'm constantly working every month to get folks in. With the advancement of our hazmat physical program, or hazmat program, meaning the growth of it, it grew by over 50, or maybe even doubled. I'm not sure what the number was. We're at 100 and something, and it's been quite a challenge to get all those crews in, because when you take one person, then I look at the whole crew, because that whole engine has to go out of service for that one person. And so I try to get as many people on that engine to get their physical as well. And that's just the tough part of it. And you have to be skilled doing it. It's taken a while, but I'm pretty good at it. But there's definitely some areas there we'd like to look at changing. Okay. So now on to the future. This is in the health and wellness world. This is what I'm looking at and what I'd like to see happen. Basically a wellness hazmat physical that meets the demands of the job. One of the issues with Kaiser is it's a cookie cutter system. There's very little understanding of what a firefighter does. And I've had to correct many of the doctors when I've gotten calls from members, and they're freaking out because they're being told they need to go on light duty, or they could just get another job. And I had to step up to Kaiser and go, look, let's have a quick meeting here and lay down the law of, we're not going to talk anything about that. Just keep it to the testing. If there's something there that pops that we need to look deeper into, give me a call. Let's get HR involved and we'll figure it out. But please, watch your watch your speech there, because I've had to calm a lot of people down. Firefighters they can get quite upset about things. And I've also had to work on standardizing it, because I'd have 3 people go to a meeting or go to a physical and then get in the rig, put the headphones on, and they had 3 different physicals. So we've cleared that up over the years, but still there's more that could be done. I've approached Kaiser about doing more in-depth screening for cancer. And there's a little pushback on that, mainly because of the ability to do it. Like, ultrasounding vital organs along with a deeper look at blood. And so we're aggressively going after some other arenas where we can find those sorts of programs that can meet our needs. And that's to be determined later, but I've got a lot of good information there that I'd like to expound on later. Provide station rehabilitation modalities. The big talk in the fire service right now is cold baths, saunas, all these things that help with rest and recovery. And they have been shown to help drop everything from, internal body fat inside the organs. What it does there when it changes the metabolism, either with a cold bath or a sauna, basically it's an intrusion on the system, and the system reacts, and that reaction seems to be quite positive. What I'm still waiting to see is if a cold bath can be beneficial the day that it's used. And if it's something that has to be across the board and has to be done every day, all day, 4 times a week and for 4 weeks, and then after 4 weeks, you're starting to feel it, it probably won't work in the fire service, because they are expensive. I don't see a lot of people doing this at home. But if it has an effect the day of the shift, especially for those that don't get a lot of on the busy stations, then I think it's something that we need to explore even deeper. Hopefully, if we get the money we're looking for, maybe that could be a part of it. I don't know. The sleep enhancement techniques, basically, when it comes to sleep, that is, I think, the biggest problem in the room that we need to address as far as wellness and prevention, is understanding sleep and turn it into not just something we do, but actually a performance type of a performance technique, meaning that the fire person or the sworn member knows how to go home and recover from getting MASH for 2 days. Where there's still some old ways of thinking out there, a couple of gin and tonics, go home and get a couple of gin and tonics and go to bed. Yeah, it might get you to sleep, but you're going to be in a whole world of hurt later on when you wake up. And I think you all know that. So really pressing, everything from how we set up the quarters, the sleeping quarters, everything from that to putting the right types of music on. I'm going to explore all those sorts of things that can get their brain to calm down. Okay, that's a big problem right now, as it should be for this type of business. It's not uncommon across the country, but something we'd like to get in front of. I think if we can really make some changes to sleep patterns, I think we'll see a big change in our cancer and in our cardio and all those other things. So stay tuned on that. And furthermore, providing more holistic options for recovery. This is more on the educational side. And there's always work to be done on nutrition. And it's funny, a mentor of mine said, when I first got on board, he said, don't even think about taking the donuts out of the firehouse. Okay, I'm not going to name who it is, but he's in the room here. And I said, ha ha. And I looked at me and he was dead serious. And I went, okay. And so here we are 6 years later. And I might get what is it, a pink slip or something for this, but that is something we need to look at is really the habits of nutrition in the firehouse, and looking at it as performance nutrition, not just something we're doing to get some food in our body, but really making the connection between, if I eat right now, then it's going to help me at 3 o'clock in the morning when I haven't had a chance to get any sleep yet. And we know, and also I wrote station, home, and hospital. So in the station, at home, and another area that I noticed is in the hospitals. I've been on a few. I've been out to Mercy San Juan. I've been in their break room, and holy smokes, that's just a full of sugar and caffeine and everything else. And that's the old school. But I'm telling you, whatever. How
Careful.
I know.
Fine with the station. You start talking about the hospital.
I know. I'm just saying, but again, these are things we'd like to look at. Maybe there's some culture change that could happen in the next 5, 10, like Chief Peck said, planting seeds on trees that we may never see. You know, so, but again, just with the whole purpose of getting in front of these issues, I'm looking at everything. Shift nutrition, you know, medics that are up all night. You know, we know that hormonally things change when you don't get sleep, and we actually have a drive to eat sugar and eat bad things, right? And so those are things we'd like to take a stab at and trying to change that culture. And, you know, it's like returning a cruise ship. It takes 25 square miles and we might as well start. So those are places I'd like to go. And the last thing that I didn't have on here was we're looking to start a pilot program, possibly at Station 65, where we bring in some therapeutic modalities like PNF mats, binaural tones for music, and hydrogen machines for a 1-month study to see if we can drop stress levels down in our crews and just see if that is something we might want to invest in the future. Because I honestly believe if we can drop stress levels down, the reasons for them are numerous, right? But if we can drop those stress levels down, I think we'll see a great change in our members' health and wellness, and it'll show in all the testing that we're going to do. Because my goal is to have nothing pop on any of those tests for a long time. And so, and that is the wellness component of it. And that's all I have for this presentation. Any questions?
Do we have any questions for Coach Gallagher? A comment?
Couple comments. I love this. This is fantastic. I think that the wellness center where things are convenient and people can get whatever care they need in one center makes it so much easier for people. I work for an organization who also has the same philosophy, and it's one of those things where if you don't make your oil appointment, you're not going to get it, right? And so if you're there and you're in someone's face and you're saying, hey, let's do this. We're here, you've made the time to get here. So I love it. It goes with the proactive approach. I absolutely was just touched when you were talking about how we also are supporting the families, especially when they have a terrible diagnosis with oncology. So I think that is such a holistic approach. Having a patient navigator for somebody to be able to lean in, and you know, when they don't know who to ask, and that person can be their advocate, I think is absolutely incredible. And I really appreciate the whole sleep enhancement. You know, we really drive home with our organization, like the Calm app, and how, you know, soothing music and soothing experiences. So I love the fact that you had brought up those ideas of to see, does it reduce somebody's cortisol levels? Does it reduce somebody's anxiety, you know, their heart rate, their blood pressure? Those are the things that you can actually measure instead of saying, I just don't feel as anxious anymore. And you can actually use the data, right? And maybe use AI as a technology to see, is this working? And I just think that, you know, with the whole thing with AI, it's scary and whatnot, but it absolutely has value if the platform is used correctly. And I think that is something that would absolutely be essential to use the data to see, is this working?
Yeah,
So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Sheets, for those comments. Director Weber?
Actually, I see he's got a action item coming, so I'll hold my questions for that.
Okay, very good. On this side?
I have a follow-up. Thank you. So you mentioned kind of the future state of where you're going. What do you need from the board?
I think we're on the right path where we're at already with Chief Peck's presentation, because this is basically taking what I've been doing and just, you know, adding gas to it, adding a couple, you know, twin turbos to it, and we're gonna start cooking with gas here. So I think the intent and the direction is where it needs to be.
Okay.
I'm excited to have this growth of the program and really have more help and work on developing that team that I think we can get a lot done. So I think we're on the right track. Absolutely. So
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions for the coach? Director Clark.
I want to appreciate your professionalism, and I'm so glad that we have a person like you at Metro Fire. There. So
Well,
to implement a lot of these measures.
I appreciate that. And there's still a lot of work to be done.
I know.
And it is an honor, absolute honor to have this position. And I fully understand what my responsibilities are. Sometimes they're overwhelming, but I'm honored to be here. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
We appreciate you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on with the agenda. We've got two action items this evening. The first one is a disclosure of material expenditures. And it looks like we have Brad with us, not even going to try. I remember last time someone tried and butchered it, and it's back with us. So Brad, if you'll be so kind as to state your full name for the record so we can go back and watch the video later when you come back.
Sure. They, at Safeway, they always try to say my last name and I just want to get through the line. But anyway, Brad Svenningson, USI Insurance, handle the insurance, marketing and what have you for Metro Fire and have for over 10 years, I guess.
Right.
Last year, we were with a pool called, well, I guess actually a year and a half ago, pool called SDRMA Insurance Pool, which was not just fire agencies, it was all sorts of different public entities, and their pricing had continued to go up. And so FARA provided us with a much more competitive quote last year and this year. And so we entered into a 3-year agreement with FARA. One of the big difference was SDRMA had a higher aggregate limit, meaning just a little bit more insurance for claims, and which they probably should, because they probably do have a lot more exposure than just the fire agencies. So we bought 2 separate policies just for Metro Fire, 2 $5 million policies to just a kind of a little more peace of mind. And so anyway, last year, the first $5 million, the premium was $169,000, and this year it's $199,000, which is an 18% increase. That's for the second $5 million. The first $5 million you paid $253,000, and this year it's $284,000. It's a 12% increase, and that's just kind of what we've been seeing in the marketplace for the last 5-6 years. We did go out to 24 different insurance companies, and these were the best options available. So if you have any questions on that, or
Any questions for our agent? So I just want to entertain a motion on authorizing payment of $284,776 to Vantage Risk Specialty Insurance Company and $199,137 to Winchester Surplus Lines Insurance Company for excess general liability insurance. And you just heard tonight the expert in the room telling us, and I think it's important that the public understand that these costs continue to rise. And that should resonate in your minds as you think about some initiatives this organization is involved in and moving forward on. Firefighting and protecting the public in this community at the level that we do does not continue to go down. It is not becoming cheaper to do that work. And I think when you stop breathing, it really comes, or your house catches on fire, your car crashes, that it really resonates at that very moment that you want the best that you can have. And that's costly. And so, Brad, with that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll second.
I got a first and a second on the motion. Madam
Yes.
Clerk, if you'll call the roll.
Director Sailors,
Aye.
Director Weber,
Aye.
Director Sheets, President Gould,
Aye.
Director Wood,
Aye.
Director Jones,
Aye.
Director Costa,
Aye.
Director Clark.
Aye.
Thank you. Item is approved.
thank you. for
Brad,
having me.
and thank you very much for all the work you do. I know it's not
Yeah.
super sexy maybe, but it's super important. And I appreciate your diligence to constantly looking at a way to save the citizens of this area money. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Let's move on to action item number 2. Action item number 2 is adopt resolution related to a contract award to Ready Rebound, Inc. for rapid intervention injury management and navigation services. Coach, you're back up, please.
All right. 2 in 1 night. This is awesome. Board members, chief, and distinguished guests, thank you for having me. My name is Patrick Gallagher. I'm the Health and Wellness Manager here at Metro Fire. And it is with great pleasure that I stand up here to present on a subject that is near and dear to my heart, and I think will be a game changer here at Metro Fire. And to get our members back, our injured members back in a timely fashion. And tonight I'll be talking about our new Rapid Intervention and Navigation Services Program. And before I get started, I kind of wanted to go over some of the basic things that happen with workers' comp that we see, that I hear about, and from the patient experience. You know, I see historically slow scheduling for necessary appointments, extended rehabilitation times. And on that note, on extended rehabilitation times, as in my past, I got my degree in sports medicine and I was an athletic trainer, and athletic trainers are a big part of this program. So once we started talking about it, I was like, oh, you're speaking my language. And an athletic trainer is the person that runs out on the field and helps somebody out. And the cool thing about being an athletic trainer is that we're one of the few people that can see an injury, evaluate it, get it referred, attend the surgery, help with rehab, and then get them back on the field. And so it's a pretty dynamic position. And one thing I learned from that is for every day that a person is out with an injury and being immobilized or unsure or just kind of sitting there with a swollen knee, for every day that happens, there's 3 days on the back end of rehab. Okay, so the speed of getting our members what they need is not only so they can feel good in the moment, but we also know that down the road, we can cut that rehab substantially if we can jump on it quickly. And so that's something that with the healthcare, and I wrote healthcare and workers' comp, because this is also the same when your daughter gets hurt and she wants to go to the doctor and it's not going to happen for 2 weeks. We see those things happen. And so that's also an issue as well to their happiness and their feeling of well-being, that they can get taken care of in a timely manner. The stress that comes with it, on average, anything that lasts about a month here at Metro seems to get folks fired up. If nothing's happening over a month, then the temperature go up and the concern happens and the stress levels go up due to the numerous hurdles to diagnosis that can happen, especially in workers' comp. And we all kind of know what those are, and we're here to try to combat that. On the district side, obviously the high costs for backfilling the positions, a greater load to HR that they have to handle because these cases are constantly staying open because they're not getting cleared and off the desk. Greater chance of litigation. When folks get upset, they think that they might have to do something about that. And I'm just going to keep that on general terms. And so we see that if we can be on this quickly, then we might have a chance of dropping litigation on a lot of these claims. Possibly that could be something that comes out of this. And then our return to work process, you know, after 6 months, it triggers a reevaluation of the member, and that includes myself, EMS, and folks at the front office, training where everybody's involved. An engine comes out of service, and so that's something that definitely is a pull on the district. And if we could obviously shorten up those times, what this is about, then obviously there's a benefit there. So, what is Ready Rebound? Well, it is a navigation model that is modeled after the professional athlete environment. As an athletic trainer, I've worked at the high school, college, and pro level. And I will tell you, and I'll just use Aaron Rodgers as an example. For those of you that know, he's a quarterback of the Jets. And when he got hurt, I think what was the second play of the very first game, and with an Achilles tear, I will tell you, and we have a few of them in here at Metro, it's a year later and they're still having issues with it. Right. With Aaron Rodgers, and that's common for an Achilles tear. It takes a long time. But a guy like Aaron Rodgers, you know, when he tore his Achilles, that night he was on a plane to get surgery. Okay. Then the next day, I will guarantee you, he was right into rehab and getting everything that he needed. Will we do that here? Probably not. But you understand the model. The quicker we can get to the diagnosis and quicker we can get to the treatment, it's not just like X amount of, it's weeks and months that are off the back end that we don't have to worry. He could have been back near the end of the season, roughly 5 months, 6 months later. That is unheard of. Will those results happen here? Probably not, but you get my point if we jump on it quick. So there's that. And so what is Ready Rebound? What they've done is they have basically taken that sports medicine model and brought it to the fire service, right? Rapid detection, expedited quality care to our members, just as if, because they are occupational athletes. All right. And they definitely have a high level of responsibility, and we need them back to work as quickly as possible. We'll talk more about the financial issues of that later. So with this management system, looks like part of it didn't get on there for some reason. So we look at with Ready Rebound from a January to roughly June, from injury to back at work. And then of the standard treatment from January all the way to September, you're looking at roughly a 30% change in the faster return to work. And that's an average, really, that it could be a lot faster than that. And I would almost guess that it was probably even quicker than what they're showing there. Now, the thing that got cut out of the slide, and I apologize, I don't know why, is this is a personal care navigation system. So I'm just going to put it this way. There's a red phone sitting here, right? One of our members gets hurt. First off, there is a choice to pick up the phone. Okay. This is not mandatory. This is a service that we're providing to our members, and they have the ability to pick up that phone or just go the traditional route of workers' comp. That'll be up to them. But once the phone is picked up, the member on the other, the advocate on the other side is a certified athletic trainer like myself, and they are assigned to that member from here all the way until 8 weeks after they return to work. Okay. And that is their advocate. And they will be in charge of everything from scheduling to just checking in. How you doing? Is there anything we can help you with? Even feedback from the doctors, because we will be constantly vetting out doctors to get the best in front of our members. And I'm sure there'll be some hiccups there along the way as we get through the process. But that person will be with that member through the whole process. And we know one of the biggest issues with the workers' comp process is feeling like you're not being paid attention to, like you're lost in the ether somewhere. And that's something I think is going to create great value for the district here, just having our members know that they're being taken care of. Okay. And then obviously a speed to diagnosis. The goal is to get to the diagnosis within 72 hours. And that is phenomenal. The next slide is, oh, there it is. Okay. It was on a different slide there. Okay. Speed to diagnosis. We already covered that. Now, one quick thing about the preferred provider network. Once this gets going, there will be a preferred provider network of doctors that we have vetted out with Ready Rebound and myself. Even including Dan McLean from MAC Physical Therapy to be involved in the vetting out of these doctors. Now, one thing with Dan and I, we actually talked about this a few years before this actually came about. Dan and I got together and said, what can we do with this workers' comp issue? And we just kind of, chewed on it a bit. And then this came around. I got a little birdie sent me this contact, and I called it, and here we are. And it was exactly what Dan and I were talking about. But in the meantime, we both came up with actually a preferred provider network already of about 10, 11 doctors that we already know. So we already have established, a good step in the right direction of getting these doctors in front of our members. And so that's the preferred provider network. Now, more on that network is the fact that how it works is they are vetted out, and it is a handshake agreement that they will see our members in a timely fashion within 24 hours to 48 hours. So they get a call from the advocate going, hey, we've got a member so-and-so, can we get him in today? And we've already made the agreement that they will try as hard as they can, because we know that doctors and therapists always have a little room somewhere in their schedule to slide somebody in, right? And so we're asking for those spots, and that will be the responsibility of that doctor, of the imaging center, of the physical therapist to meet those demands. And in order to be a preferred provider, they actually have to go through a bit of extensive training to understand what it's like to be a firefighter. So we're planning on having these providers wearing turnouts, flowing water, climbing a ladder, and getting a feel for what this is going to look like. And it really helps with the experience when our members show up at the office. So here is when we're looking at average times to a scheduled appointment, on average, and we'll go over it, there's another slide here, but with Ready Rebound, we're talking 1.12 days to your initial evaluation with a specialist. After that, imaging is required, another 1 day. And then after that, 7 days on average to surgery. Okay, so when we see here, so at Metro Fire, last year we had 123 orthopedic injuries. Now, mind you, some of those are, oh, I tweaked my knee. I'm just going to write up paperwork and send it in and I'm good. I'm fine. I just want to get a record of that. And we see that a lot. But of those, and along with the 8 cancer claims and 3 cardiac claims, of the 123, we had 32 surgical cases. And let's pay attention to that number as we look at the math. So when we break it down, the annual cost, first off, how do we set up the membership? It's based on our sworn members. And so the number 622 is our sworn member number as of before any of these academies. And by the way, the cool thing is once we sign the contract, I'm just going to suggest we hire as many people as possible because it is not a part of the contract. So they get in for free for the next year. So because I brought it up, I said, well, we have 2 academies going on here in the next few weeks. And how does that? He goes, oh, no, they're in on that number there. So that's a little added bonus there. And it really shows their intent. It really shows, I saw that as a great character move from the company that, hey, no, we're going to take care of everybody. And you'll see later on really how much they're going to take care of us. And so the number here is $248,000. Now to the right of there is the break-even example. And on average days to schedule, we have Sac Metro Fire, and the initial on average is 7 days from the injury. Ahmed says, yep, you did this, go see a specialist. It takes roughly 7 days, could take longer. I've heard of it taking 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, there's some flexibility there. There's some range there, but on average, it's about 7 days. To get to imaging, 7 more days. To get to surgery, we all know this, boy, that could be 3, 4, 5 weeks later. So now we're looking at 40-something days before surgery. Ready Rebound, 1 day. 1 day to imaging, 7 days to surgery. Now we're talking about a significant change. Now, after that surgery, we can get to rehab. And so all those days times 3 versus 40 days times 3, right? Now we're looking at a substantial decrease in time off. Now we do the math on that and you see days saved, weeks saved, shifts saved, and 2 and 7, total of 11. And you see it's roughly $22,000 for a surgical case in time off costs, backfill costs, and all that. So that being said, because here's the other thing that Ready Rebound, they are so confident with what they have to offer that they have offered us a money back guarantee, right? And we said, well, how much would it cost to hit that money back guarantee? And we did the math on it. We figured it is right around 11 to 12 surgical cases. Now, even if there's some fluctuation there, let's say it's 15, let's say it's 20. Okay, we had 32 last year. I feel very confident that we will meet that mark with these sorts of numbers. I think that obviously we don't want to see any injuries, but I think this is absolutely going to blow it out of the park. And so that's what the math says there. And that'll be very, very interesting to see how that plays out. Now, who is covered? And here's what Chief was talking about was the membership is based off of, or the amount is based off of sworn members. And we saw that 622. But the service is extended to all of professional staff, all of retired members, all of their family members. Okay. And so they're reaching out and handling. So little Susie, she sprains her ankle in the soccer tournament on a Saturday, red phone. Oh yeah. An advocate is assigned to her and they will find a doctor within 1 day, imaging within the network, and they get full access to it. And we get her back onto the soccer pitch within days, not weeks, wondering what's going on. And she's upset. The whole family's upset, and there go all the scholarship opportunities. Just playing, but you get my point. It's the ability to take care of the whole family. Another part to this that I want to make mention of is because we have a lot of members that live outside, down in Cal Poly area, Oregon, Idaho, Texas. They're all over the place. And so, well, what about me? Well, first off, with the growth of Ready Rebound, their network, I look at it like AT&T when they show the map of their coverage. Ready Rebound is doing the same thing. Every time I've talked with them, and I've been in contact with them on and off for the last probably 4 years. And they started off X amount of states, X amount, now they're up to 30 something states and they're just growing, growing, growing. The other thing that we can talk about here, well, in the state of California is CAL FIRE just awarded them a contract. So what that means for us is that they will set up the network through all of CAL FIRE, and that's pretty much the whole state. We have access to those doctors as well. And so for our members that live farther away, there's going to be doctors in that area that are going to be signed up for this program. So we're going to really have great coverage for our members. And then if they don't have that coverage, what happens is they actually actively go after finding those people in those areas. Boise, Idaho, Austin, Texas, they're going to go hunt and try to find somebody that could see that member and their family in that town. And that's just a phenomenal service that they're offering. So that's pretty much everything we talked about was the orthopedic side of the program. Now, obviously, they are well aware of our concerns and most concerns about cardiac issues and cancer issues. So what we have here is basically a breakdown of the attempt. We're going to move towards, they're moving towards including oncology and cardiology to the program. So again, the same phone, there's a diagnosis. The best thing is let's get on that quick. And so they're actively going after setting up that program. What we have set up with them is we will be the first in market in California. We already are the first in market to have Ready Rebound in California. And now we are also going to be first when it comes to the oncology and cardiology component of this program. So stay tuned on that. That grand opening is going to happen here real soon. Don't know when, but we'll be the first to hear about it when it happens. So, just my thoughts on it, because again, I've worked in this environment and I know what it's like. And I've been around athletes and helped them right when it happens. I've been through the emotional component of somebody losing their season, helped them through it, got them back on the field. And so the human side of this is really something that I think is going to be very well administered to. And Chief always talks about, being human. And that part of it, aside from all the money, and if we make it up to that level where we don't have to get our money back, or we get the 200 and something, whatever it is, we get our money out of it. Really what I'm going to predict is our members are going to be so happy that somebody is paying attention to them individually, that it is just going to be a slam dunk. Because that communication piece is huge, especially when somebody is vulnerable, like they are on workers' comp or an off-duty injury. All they want to do is get back and get done with the shame and the guilt of it and get back to work as quickly as possible. Because fortunately here at Metro, our folks like to come to work. Any questions on that?
All right. Before Coach Gallagher, I think it's a really good idea that Director Weber's going to want to say something about that. I'm sure the chief would like to say something.
No questions, but out of respect, Coach, could you introduce and bring up our rep for Ready Rebound too? Because it may be appropriate for some of the director's questions. I have no questions. They've been vetted out many a times with this company.
Well, so
you do.
This is Ryan from Ready Rebound. The only reason why I brought him here because he was supposed to hash every time I said the word And so he 40. Okay, that's okay.
45 is not bad. All right, let's start with questions for both of you. So stay there. Director Weber, I know you had a question in the last round.
Yes, thank you. First, I need to clarify one thing with work comp being horrific and everything else and the advocacy. I would agree with you beforehand. That was a major, major problem with us. Since Intercare has come on, we're 100% better. The advocacy is wonderful along with HR. So I just need to clear that up. And then I'm going to blow a little smoke, and you deserve all the smoke on that's coming your way. Coach and I have been having conversations for 6 or 7 months now, and I've really enjoyed the extreme proactive approach you've had on the entire health and wellness. But we keep talking about gardening. You planted the seed many, many, many months ago about Ready Rebound. And again, with the ad hoc and certainly the support of the chief, we finally are here today. I couldn't be happier with your program and for our membership. I mean, this is absolutely, it blows me away that we got this here at Metro. It's unbelievable what you are going to be doing for our members' families. some of the retirees and all the professional staff as well. So thank you very much, Coach. I appreciate everything that we've talked about over these months. Keep bringing those ideas forward and we'll see if we can keep getting them pushed up. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Weber. Director Sheets.
Sorry.
Oh, back up.
I
Stop.
forgot.
Director Sheets,
So-
hold on.
With the family members and the retirees or anybody that's not a work comp individual, how are the doctors paid?
Yeah, I mean.
So that's a great question. So in those scenarios, whether it's an off-duty injury by a member or a retiree or fire member, it's going to be the private health insurance, right? And so the caveat there, right, is it's dependent on the type of insurance that's being presented. Typically, we can move fastest with PPO, right? Then you've got HMO where there's some restrictions where they have to go to their primary first to get referred out. And then once they're referred out, we can jump in and then get them into the specialist that they need to see. Kaiser is another challenge altogether. And we know that Kaiser is a big health provider here. Because of our relationship with CAL FIRE, they have gotten us conversations with Kaiser. And so we've been having conversations with them as to how we're able to kind of integrate with their kind of closed off health system. So that kind of remains to be seen, but it will be private health insurance.
You're welcome. Director Sheets.
So that brings me to my question. So you're using somebody's private health insurance, whether it's for-profit, nonprofit, for fee for service. I'm curious how you can guarantee somebody getting an X-ray within 24 hours and somebody getting surgery within 7 days. So I'd love to hear that.
Great. Yeah. So great question. Yeah. We can't move faster than the authorization. Right. And so those numbers that Patrick spoke of, those are those are the benchmarks that we reach for. So, 24 to 48 hours initial appointment, 72 hours diagnosis. We do have to follow the dictates of the major medical being used. So if it is a family member or retiree, it depends, right? So I wouldn't say it would be 24, 48 hours. It just kind of depends on what the major medical says.
And do you have the data to support that you would be able to do 24 to 48 hours for the initial evaluation, 24 hours for the X-ray and 7 days for the surgery? Because I'd be very
We do. So those are averages across all of our 350 departments across 19 states. Yeah.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Director Sheets, you done? Okay, let's move over to the left side. Director Jones?
Yes, thank you. Perhaps more of a follow-up to the previous questions here. Now, this is good for 1 year upon approval. And I'm curious, we've moved along. Who will evaluate the Ready Rebound performance? How often will we be receiving an update on how close you get to your benchmarks?
So I'll start with that one, probably directed towards me. The agreement will be 1 year contract with 2 extensions,
Right.
2 1-year extensions at that price, locked in. We have also made an agreement that our GIS specialist, Jake, will be the data capturer, and that information will be provided to Ready Rebound if we can't quantify that dollar amount, they will refund us the price of the contract. So to your point, Director Sheets, it's a wait and see. They have to prove up and live up to their expectations. But the reality is if we can improve that basically with about 11 to 12 members for the financial side of it, it's success. From the other component that Coach talked about is the advocacy, right? We have the phone there. If somebody chooses to use it, whether they're successful with their goals or not, they will have somebody that's helping them navigate through a very frustrating process.
Sure. That's fair. Observed.
Cautiously
Yeah.
optimistic.
And
Sure.
Director Jones, I apologize. I did a two-part answer to my question. I want to respect, did I answer your question?
The aspect of the question of how often will we receive these stats, I'm still waiting for that
So-
answer.
If I may.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm saying this in the most friendliest.
Sure, no, of course. And so we actually
Oh, no,
provide a
yeah.
dashboard to the district, and it shows, average times to doctor appointment, how many wait days have been saved. And then we calculate based on your average backfill overtime cost, what your dollar amount is saved. And there's sort of the breakdown of everything that everybody in the district would have access
Thank
to.
you. I missed the timeline. Once a month, once a quarter?
So that you can log into our dashboard and actually see it live. It updates every day at 9 a.m.
All right. Thank you very much.
Any other
But-
questions?
I think a better answer to your question directly, I'll probably include that dashboard with our service, our internal member to get a 30-day report with the fire chief's report that you guys get with the other dashboards every 30 days and give you a global snapshot.
Any other questions? I want to thank Director Weber for inviting me to a couple-hour meeting with this organization. And I will tell you that we did not go kindly as far as hitting them on performance. And every time we asked them to meet our needs, they were more than happy to do that. I think it's critical to understand there's no risk here for us. Okay, I think that's really important. They recognize that we're a little bit gun shy about this and we want to see proof in the pudding. And so not only the reps standing here tonight, but other members of that team understood that. And so they put it in front of us as there's no risk to this organization to try this. They want to have a contract with Metro Fire and all of our staff. They want to prove to us that it works. And so they put in play where if they don't meet the benchmarks that you just saw tonight, we don't pay. And I think about all the contracts we sign, right? That at this point, it's really the way it was told to us is that the onus is on them to do exactly what they've just told us. Okay. And so this is truly performance based. And I know that coach and others have worked their tails off and particularly the chief to get to where we are tonight, that we can start this almost immediately, if not immediately, probably have some data before we even see in 30 days our new division. But this is a pretty big winner. I agree with Director Weber. This is something we need to do like tonight, get this baby going. So I encourage my colleagues to make a motion second and move this forward.
Excuse me, sir. Can I make one comment to the board?
Absolutely.
Another huge freebie or a great thing for Metro Fire is we are now the pilot program for the cardiac and oncology.
Yeah.
So that in itself is going to be phenomenal. We have the same resources of the phone to get these folks in with those other two components. And I think that's huge that Metro Fire again is leading the way and we're taking the lead on this. And thank you for letting us be the pilot. Thank you.
Yeah, and Director Weber, I would also mention the fact that while we say we're the first fire department in California to do this and pilot for California, I think it's also important that we are not the first fire department that this organization is working with. And so this is a track record of other fire department specific groups that have probably some of the very similar challenges that we do. So while we are first to the market in California, we are not first to the market as far as in the fire industry. And that brought a lot of comfort to me, being guinea pigs okay. And so it's not okay. Right. But this organization has got some very strong data and they didn't hide away. They weren't hiding the pee when we went hard on them about that data. So I look forward to proving this in the coming months. And I think that's really what we're facing here tonight. So with that, I'll take a motion on the action item.
I'll second.
Okay, I've got a first and a second. Madam Clerk, did you get the first and the
I
second?
did. I got the second, but who made the first?
Director Clark.
Okay, great.
All right, with the motion on the table, let's go ahead and call the roll, please.
Director Sailors,
Aye.
Director Weber, Director Sheets,
Aye.
President Gould,
Aye.
Director Wood.
Aye.
Director Jones,
Aye.
Director Costa,
Aye.
Director Clark.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. The resolution is adopted.
Thank you very much, Coach Gallagher. I promise not to bring you back up again. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Moving along to get to closed session, we need to move into that room. I see our attorney present. So we need to kind of move this along. There are no reports from myself. We'll move on to the chief's report.
I have no report this evening.
Okay.
Also out of respect to closed session.
Thank you very much. Let's go to operations report. Chief Mitchell.
Thank you.
Good to see ya.
President. Good evening, everybody. I will make it quick. I am going to keep the good news train moving. I am here tonight to really reinforce our increase in service delivery to the community and our ability to adapt and what we've done over the last couple of years, but also through collaboration with a number of divisions and our partners in 522. I'm happy to stand before you tonight and announce that we are getting ready to, and just announced via bulletin to the entire department, put in our 4th squad unit effective before September 4th at Squad 53. So we're moving forward there. Again, I've been saying it a lot lately. We need to get more resources on the road to deal with our exponential increase in call volume and our static resource numbers. And I think it's really good to celebrate this win. Although we're not done, we're better today than we were yesterday. We got a long road ahead of us to continue to chip away at that difference of calls and resources. And unless there's any questions, that's it for my report.
Chief, thank you. Any questions for the chief? Go ahead, Director Wood.
Just very quickly, Chief, I just want to say thank you to both you guys for expanding your vision and thinking about the squad allocation and being open to putting it down there in 53. It's going to give those men and women a very much needed respite, although that'll take their calls from 6,000 to 5,000. So
We got a long way to go.
but yeah, we got a lot more work to give them some time, but this is a big step in the right direction. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you,
sir.
Chief. Appreciate that. Let's move on to administrative report. Out of class Deputy Chief Johnson. No report. There you are, sir.
Good evening, President Clark, members of the board, Fire Chief House. It is not a report,
fine. No,
just an
he's-
introduction. So, Mike Johnson, Assistant Chief, currently filling in as an out-of-class deputy in the administration. First, Fire Chief, thank you very much for your confidence and faith in me to do this. I'm very excited about it. A little bit about me. First exposure to this agency, actually a predecessor agency, was as a young, spry 14-year-old Explorer cadet with the Sacramento County Fire Protection District. I had to take a double take when I realized that was in 1994, and that was 30 years ago. I don't think I'm old enough for that, but I had that realization today. Been currently employed for 22 years here. I have the honor of holding every rank, and I'm very excited for what this position is going to offer me as far as experience. So thanks again for that. And you know where to get me if you need anything. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate that. Welcome. Congratulations. I have it on good authority. We will not be having a support services report this evening. We'll move on. Captain Scholar in the room. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, Board of Directors, Chief House, members of the public, colleagues. Sean Scholar, Local 522, Vice President. For the sake of closed session, I'll make this report short. It actually ended up being a good night for me to give you an update on wellness, considering every person that spoke this evening talked about wellness and talked about the collaborative effort that we're doing. So a lot of my points that I was going to make this evening were already made with Chief Peck's fantastic presentation, and then followed up by Coach Gallagher's and Ready Rebound and everything that we're doing. I would just like to say I appreciate the collaboration on a lot of the visits that we've done. So the PPGMT wellness money that we secured in contract negotiations is being utilized right now for members. In the last 6 months, we've sent 6 members into some sort of treatment facility for either PTSI or substance abuse. 4 of them have utilized funds out of the PPGMT account. That account is being used not only for the treatment of those members, but to also offset some of the financial burdens that those treatments may present to those members. They're also being utilized to give some sort of support network to those members to go down to a facility to make sure that they're not going unaccompanied and that they have somebody there by their side to make sure that they're not alone in the process. So the money's going to great use. It's being utilized. I can tell you that that number will probably only grow. Like anything new in the fire service, people hate change and they hate anything new. So, but as the benefits become more aware to the men and women that work here as those members are coming back. And I can speak for a couple of them that it's changed their life. Absolutely changed their life. Some of them have said that it's saved their life. So even if it's one member that makes that comment to me, it's worth every amount of money possible to ensure that they're getting the treatment that they deserve. That would not happen without a collaborative effort from labor and management to see that happen. I can say that that we are attacking this from all angles. I agree with Chief Peck's point. Sometimes we are duplicating efforts, and I think that the new division will help offset that, make sure that we're focused on the same things and getting them done and working together on them so we're not duplicating efforts to be more efficient down the road. With that being said, I will keep it short, like I said I would. So that is it for this evening. I'm contained. I'm open for any questions that you all might have for me.
All right. Anybody like to pepper the captain with questions?
I'm ready for it.
Okay, thank you, Captain. Appreciate your report this evening. We'll move on. We have now committee and delegate reports. I have no report except to let my colleagues on the executive committee understand that we've got some things coming up that may require us to meet. Outside of that, let's go to Comm Center, JPA. I don't see Chief Green in the building. No, somebody. All right, let's move on to Finance and Audit Committee. Director Jones.
Thank you. Next meeting, August 22nd, 5:30 in these quarters.
Director Cost on Policy.
Thank you. The policy committee met today and it was exciting because we had a new policy to review. And it came out of a pilot program that's been running since 2022, focused on the 56-hour alternate assignment position. So it's 6 positions, 2 per shift, the minimum of 12 months in those positions. It's focused on members who may be pregnant, and then it moves to light duty and modified duty. So that's the priority of that position. And so it was an informational item that came to the policy committee.
Okay. We'll expect to see that policy.
It won't come to the board because it was
Okay.
information only.
Yeah. Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you for that. And your next meeting is, I have it on good authority, September 12th,
Yes, sir.
somewhere around there. Okay, with that, I'd like to change it up just a little bit for our colleagues so we can get into closed session. We're going to hold our board members' questions and comments till after we come back. None of you should be here because I know you're just dying to hear our comments, but not really. And just have all of you go home, see your families. We'll take a 5-minute break and then we'll meet with Colin in closed session. Thank you very much. Thank you. We call this meeting back in open session. We'll ask our attorney.
Thank you, Director Gould. The board met in closed session under agenda item number 1, conference with legal counsel concerning the workers' compensation matter of Anthony Benalicia and Metro Fire. No reportable action was taken. Number 2, the board met in closed session for public employee performance evaluation of the fire chief. No reportable action was taken. Thank you.
I'm contained as well. Thank you.
Director Costa,
No comment.
Director Jones,
No comment.
Director Wood.
No comment.
We